Hey breast friends, I'm going to help you make pumping suck just a little bit less. Hey, I'm Stephanie Dawson. I'm a board certified lactation consultant and postpartum doula serving the Central Florida area. If you have found your way to this video, it means you need help pumping, and don't we all? The average pump comes with like a 24 or a 28 millimeter flange, and dollars to donuts, it's the wrong size. I've been doing this since 2017, and I think I've put a mom in one of those sizes maybe 3 times between the two sizes. Just in general, they're too big. So here's how you can kind of do this yourself. In an ideal world, everybody would have access to a lactation consultant who knows what they're doing with flanges. Unfortunately, that's not the case. So sometimes we have to do it ourselves. Following these general rules, I think, can help get you there, even if it does take a little more trial and error than what is ideal. So in general, we only want to see nipple going into the tunnel. I know with breastfeeding, we're talking about getting a really wide latch to where part of the areola is in the mouth. But when we're pumping, we're feeding a machine. We're not feeding a baby. It doesn't behave the same way. It doesn't treat your tissue the same way. And by only allowing nipple to go into the tunnel, you're protecting this incredibly sensitive tissue around the areola. So as mentioned, most pumps come with a 24 or a 28, but there are also a couple different shapes. This one is very conical, just kind of goes straight back and straight across. This one is a little more bulbous. It kind of goes, makes a little hump here and then goes back. I'll talk about this a little bit more later and why they're important, but just know that there are two sides or two shapes. So you take your flange and then you want to find an insert that's as close to the diameter of your nipple as possible. You can buy some little rulers that you can use to get the diameter of your nipple. Those rulers are probably going to come with instructions that tell you to add 1 to 2 millimeter to the diameter. Don't do it. I haven't found that to be very useful. Every once in a while, we'll kind of play around with the sizing, but in general, starting with the actual diameter of your nipple gets you pretty good results. So if we were to put a 21 millimeter on this, like that's still going down a size, but as you can see, you're still going to get a lot of areola in there. So that's not going to, even if you go from a 24 to a 21, this might still be more painful. Don't stop at that size. Keep going down. So then we could try maybe the 17. That looks like it might be a little bit closer. And yeah, actually that does look pretty decent. But I know from experience that that's still going to stretch and pull in some areola. So if this were a real boob, I would probably try a 15. Yeah, that looks pretty snug. I know it doesn't sound like it would be comfortable, but just hear me out. Lubricate it. Put some olive oil on it. You can buy pumping sprays that are just like fractionated coconut oil. You can use those if you want to. I have found that olive oil works the best in my opinion. And I think there are fewer people who have a reaction to olive oil than coconut oil. Coconut oil can actually be very drying when used consistently on the same area. So try both, see which one you like better. So once you have the size that you think fits, you put it into your shield just like this. Again, lubricate it, apply it to the breast, with the pump hooked up to it and turn it on. So ideally, you'll just see that the nipple is kind of moving in and out like this. Again, we don't want to see any areola going into it. We don't want to see the nipple coming all the way down here. But we also don't want to see what we call flashback. And it's going to be really hard to describe on here, but it's when the tissue, like as the vacuum lets go, the tissue kind of backs away from this portion of the flange. If that happens, it can make it a little more confusing to get the right fit. That's when we would break out these more spherical shaped flanges. It's the same principle, but this shape here is going to fit your anatomy a lot better. Again, I mean, maybe maybe 10-20% of my clients actually need these. So don't just go out and buy these. Start with these and then watch for that flashback to occur. Put your flange in and let it go. So now once you have the flange that you think works well for you, you want to give it 10 to 15 minutes to make sure you don't get more pain as time goes on. But you want to make sure that your nipple is still moving freely and that you're getting milk. If you're not getting milk, or your nipple is kind of like going in a little bit, but it's almost like it's held back too much because it's too close to the sides of the flange, go up a size. Um, you can also play around with your pump settings. In general, we want it to be on the higher side, but not uncomfortable either. So go up until you feel pain and then back down one or two and start there. That still might not be your perfect setting, but start there. And then if you notice that because of all of the vacuum or the intensity of it, that it's kind of slowing down production, keep backing down. So just play around with your settings. Make sure you're paying attention to how much milk is going in. Once you've had a letdown, you should see pretty consistent streams, not just drops. If it's drops, we need to talk about it. This isn't the perfect way to do a flange fitting, but it's about as good as we can do through a YouTube video. So if you have questions, drop them below. If you're interested in getting a professional flange fitting, you can reach out to me. My website is growlakeland.com. I do take some insurance, so that could be kind of helpful too. But again, if you're seeing this and you're not from Central Florida, let me know. I'd be happy to get you connected to a lactation consultant in your area who knows what they're doing. Hope that helps you guys. Let me know what questions you have.